Welcome to Entrepreneurs Lounge, the show that highlights success stories of young entrepreneurs who are making it against all odds in their different respective fields. And as usual, we're shooting at Dotage Home and Exclusive Furniture in Westlands on Parklands Road. Now, my first guest is someone who's doing something quite different from the norm. She's a chef and a very recent author of a cookbook that's really making it in Uganda and is already creating quite the rave in Kenya. Joining me today is Sarah Akelly, chef and cookbook extraordinaire. You're very welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me, Ingrid.
A chef. Yes. A cook or a chef?
Well, depending. On my passport, I'm a cook, but a chef.
Talk to me about your journey. When we talk about being a chef, a lot of people will think someone who's in a restaurant, you know, a downtown restaurant is a chef. Somebody who's in the Kempinski is a chef. Who is a chef? What's your journey? What qualified you to be here today with me on Entrepreneurs Lounge?
Well, somebody who is downtown, I think, is a chef. You don't minimize anybody's journey because they are still doing what chefs do, which is cooking and managing restaurants and, you know, costing and everything else that comes with it. So for me personally, I love to cook. I've always loved to cook. Everyone who knows me, even a little bit, has for sure tasted something that I've made. Because from a young age, I've always been in the kitchen. But sometimes you have to accept if corporate paths are not for you. Like, no need to fight against all odds to get those A's in ICCA. If it has refused, it has refused. You say, God, for books, the brains can first sit. Let me do something with my hands. So that's why I was able to focus on something. I don't like losing, and I don't like being mediocre. And I felt like if I did anything else, there were people who were just brighter than me in those areas, and it wasn't enough for me to just pass. Right. So
you wanted to stand out. You wanted to shine.
I'm not comfortable like being mediocre at all. So I really had to find my path where I know there's no one to compete with me here. I can, you know, determine how high I will go. And so I studied in International Culinary Center for Arts in Dubai. I got my papers for culinary school, which is cooking. And I've worked in Dubai in one of the finest restaurants and one of the best hotels, one and only. If people know, they definitely know it. And then I moved to Abu Dhabi. I've moved to Asia. So recently I was working in Bali, and we moved from Hong Kong, Bali, Singapore, Malaysia, you know, creating menus and doing all that. So it's really been an interesting journey. And, you know, people usually ask me, they're like, oh, you're doing so well, you travel so much, I want to be a chef. And they don't realize that 90% of the chefs don't have the opportunity to do what I do. It's one of those things where you have to be focused, you have to position yourself well, and you're like the people who you meet, the people who you work with, you have to invest in social capital. Like, you have to be very deliberate about who you work with, because these are the people that are going to guide you and allow you to prosper. So you don't just go anywhere to work anywhere because of a paycheck. However low the paycheck, if in the end you're going to be working with a Michelin star who can be able to recommend you somewhere. That's how I've been on my journey. Working with people that have you know, they'll get a job and they're like, oh, can you come? We have this. Or you go somewhere and it's someone you worked with. So it's the social network that has helped me reach where I am.
Now, I really want to dwell on something you started off by saying. You don't like to be mediocre, which is why you didn't take the mainstream routes of being an accountant, because you don't like to get Fs. You didn't try to become... No, I'm just saying you don't like to be mediocre because there's probably going to be a better accountant than you somewhere. Or you didn't decide not to become an engineer, but you knew you loved to cook.
I did.
And that's an area that you knew you could shine in. And so you mentioned you decided to go to Dubai to better yourself and see how you can stand out in this field. My question then is, with all that background, how important is it, that training? Because a lot of people will say, I already have the skill. I don't need to add on to it. Like, I'm already good at it. Yeah. What else am I going to add on to it? So how important, how vital was that training into molding you into that fine chef who's gone into the one and only, like all these hotels you just threw in there, that training? Well, would you advise a person to go through it, or they can do it without it?
Well, and I don't think this is only centered in cooking. Usually when you look at passions, people, you already naturally have a skill. You're an artist, you're a musician, but it's not fine-tuned. You cannot do, I mean, you wouldn't be, even if you went to school and you didn't love, let me say, cooking, there's only so much you can go with it, only so much you can learn, so much you can do. But for me personally, I love to do it. I went to school, and when I started out in the industry, there are people who didn't do culinary school who are ahead of me. And you'd see the difference in how they work. But 3 years down the road, you could tell the difference between someone who has educated themselves. There's a certain finesse to how you do your work. There's certain management things that you acquire just from going to school, and it's a lot more than learning how to cook. Because, like, for example, as a chef, there's a lot more. Cooking is maybe 50% of what we do. There's a lot more behind that people don't know. So you have to be able to understand how, first of all, people's characters, how to understand how to work with people, how to design the menu. At the end of the day, it's also about money. So you have to understand how to cost, how to create things from maybe ingredients that people don't like or that are really cheap to turn it into something that is better. Your creativity, this is boosted by a certain level of education that exposes you to so much more. So I would advise, if you can, because I know usually when it comes to this passion,
yes,
education can be a little bit expensive.
But it's vital.
It is vital if you can do it. If you can't, you make sure you target where you're going to learn. So if I'm an artist, I will make sure to go to like the best artists around me, because at the end of the day, what we do every day, where you're learning every day, transforms you and helps you focus on how you end up working. When you see how I work, you would be able to trace, if you knew the people that I've worked with, you'd be able to trace how I work. Yes, you can see their hand through my work. As much as I bring myself out, you'd say, wow, okay, this is like this, this is like this, this is like this. And if I had been somebody who I studied and let me just go and work here because I can do it, there's so many, you would tell a difference.
I feel like even what you've talked about also brings in the aspect of having a mentorship. Yeah. But now we have to talk about your cookbook, which is the main reason why we're here today. Always Extra for Love, a cookbook by Sarah Akelly.
Yours truly.
Talk to us about this cookbook. What was the dream behind the cookbook? I'll let you talk about it.
Well, this started out as a passion project, like something, I love to write. And I have a friend who always tells me, you can't write because you speak the way you write. And I keep asking her now, so where is your book? Anyway,
wow. Okay.
Hey, Charlotte. No, but I love to write. I've always loved to write, and I love to cook. And it's something that, you know, you always want to find a way to bring two things together. And I feel like for me, when, like, moving to Asia, Dubai was really, really hectic. I never really had time to do anything because it was work, 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 work. But moving to Asia, Bali, I did have, like, weekends. I would have free time. And I don't like to, like, sit idle and do nothing. So it's something that I started to work on. And then when I had finally got something together, content together, and I knew at the end of the day, this is something that I need back home in my country. It's something that I need in East Africa. It's something that I need, like, you know, on the continent, like where I'm at home. So I needed to come back to make sure everything in the book is something that is accessible at a local market in Uganda, at a local market in Nairobi, you know, even wider, but in Africa, because the ingredients are different. Like the ones in Bali, they taste different. Some are easily accessed, others aren't. It's different for us here. So I had to come back and make sure everything, if you look at the book, it's something that you'll just walk down to a supermarket and you'd be able to get everything for a dish that you need. It's not anything that would be difficult to find. And I also felt like, I have so many friends, we go and visit them, and no offense, but their food is a little bit basic. And I love their food.
But you're going to have no friends.
No, I love them. I always offer to cook for them. But it's something that I wanted to allow people to experience more, to be more creative in their own kitchens. We always spend so much to go to restaurants to eat. So these are restaurant dishes, things that you can find in any high-end restaurant or mid-high-end restaurant that you can go to.
Right.
So if you can be able to pay so much for, you know, a tiramisu, right, for a panna cotta, for a lasagna, why not? And you can make it at home at less than half the price. Why not do it? Why not learn how to do it?
I would like to talk about the aspect of publicity, because that's very, very key. I mean, you're looking for your cookbook to target a much bigger market than just Uganda, than just Kenya, than just South Africa. So, of course, a lot has to go into, the distribution, the publicity, how, you market your product. What would you say you're leveraging on right now that is working? So that if I'm an aspiring chef out there, I'm an aspiring author, whether not even just of a cookbook, that I can learn from you, that this is how she's done it, this is how she's making it. How would you say that would work or has worked for you?
Well, for me personally, I've just begun that, and I'm learning as I go along. And yes, I'm hoping that it would be big. The most important thing that I started with, regardless of what you're doing or before you even bring in advertisers, is your product. Like, it has to be good. I was so insistent on the quality of my book, the printing, the photography. Like, when you look at it, I had to make sure it can be at an airport. It can stand out, right next to a Jamie Oliver book, and no one will be like, this should be, So you do have to invest in quality if you're looking bigger than just where you are. Because I could have done a regular cookbook for, for Uganda, and it would have sold because there's nothing like that yet. But you have to focus on the quality. Second, whatever it is that you're putting, the authenticity behind my writing. When you read, you can do it. And for a cookbook especially, you have to make sure that when people try the ingredients and when people try what it is that you put in the book, it is the truth. I'm not going to say, oh, put this for 5 minutes and it will turn into something great. And then a regular person tries it out and it doesn't. Right. That has worked for me so much because the first people that got it, like friends of mine, have been, like, you would go to a place and then it has marketed itself. So that has helped to push it. You need social media. We're in the age of social media. So influencers, people that, but I wouldn't advise just get any social influencer. It has to be someone who understands what you're doing, who likes what you're doing. In my case, I will cook for you. I need to know, do you like it? Honestly, if you don't like it, I'd rather you don't promote anything of mine if you don't like it, because I respect that. Palettes are different, but the authenticity behind even marketing. And then distribution channels, you need to look at places that are visible. Like, people don't like to move a lot, so you can have like those delivery services where they can be delivered right up to them. And for me personally, the way I looked at it, I'm in food. This is a book in food. As much as in bookstores, I would love for it to be there. I was also looking at, like supermarkets, hypermarkets. Right. Somebody is shopping for food and then they see this. Like, it's not every day you'll find a book in a supermarket, but for a cookbook, I feel like that is where it would be most relevant. Right. So you'd open it and say, oh, I need to buy this. You run back and buy it. It will catch your eye because this is what you need. And, before everything and above everything, it's God. Right. Sometimes he just decides.
He surprises you.
He surprises you and he blesses you beyond what you can believe. And
now, Sarah, as a young chef, who most of the experience they've acquired or accumulated is beyond the confines of the region, and then here you are, you've come back to the region to bring what you've learned, much as it might be different from what people are used to. What would you say have been the greatest challenges you've encountered in this market?
For me, the challenges are mainly the ingredients, like finding good quality consistently, finding like good consistent quality. Because you would go to like a market today and you have very, very good tomatoes. And you go the next day and they're the ones that are raw. You go the next day and their farmer failed to deliver. There's like no consistency. There's something about when you're abroad and when you're in the industry, that is what you focus on. There's where I know, guaranteed throughout the year, I'm going to get this, this, this. So it allows my food to remain consistent. But then here, when you have ingredients that are a little bit different, it's also good in a way because it challenges your creativity. And you're like, okay, today I'm dealt a different hand. I have to find a way to still bring something good. Also, another thing that I've found quite challenging is, I love local food, and I don't even try to change local food because I believe the people that do it right. And the way I do it is because I learned from those before me. But you have different cuisines, restaurants coming up, and they are making these other cuisines that I've been studying in, and you eat something and you're like, this chef should know better. Like really.
Taking people's money.
Like you are taking people's money for this chef should know, but like, what is this? Yeah. Come on. Why am I tasting butter? like this is school 101. But you can't say these things because at the end of the day, I feel like, especially in Africa, in East Africa, in Uganda, in Kenya, once you're getting customers, you're like, they don't know anyway. They don't know any better, you know? Like if I feed you something, you've never had it before. Yeah. If you like it the way I've given it to you, there's no reason, right, there's no reason for me to give you something better. Right. And with the cookbook, I'm hoping that it can encourage people to identify good food, to learn good food, so that they can demand more from these people, from restaurants. Right. Like you deserve to pay for something that is good. If I'm going to spend money on a fine dining, I deserve to eat the best that there is. So I deserve to develop my palate, you know, to grow. And the chef, it's your responsibility to make sure that you give people their money's worth. Right. Not that you can skate through just because you know that they don't know. It's your responsibility to educate them. This way we can see them, you know, we can see the market transition. We can open up Africa to other, you know, allow us to compete. These things like Michelin stars, these are things, rosettes, that no one in Africa thinks of. Right. But a time is going to come because we are developing. And to be able to compete with things like that, we have to be able to target and be very deliberate about delivering quality, right, especially on us, the chefs.
Sarah, you're doing very beautiful things, and I really do hope that through your cookbook, you can change lives one plate of food at a time. We have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere because we have you in another segment. Well, like I've said, that was Sarah Akelly, according to her cookbook author name. She's a chef and, you know, traversed the world, gained experience, came back here, put it all in a book, and is hoping she can change the way food or even fine dining is viewed on this part of the world. Right now, I have to take a very, very quick break, but do not go anywhere because I have so much more for you on Entrepreneurs Lounge. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Lounge. Now, my second guest is Stephen Kinyanjui, who decided to try his hand out in the construction business and is currently the founder of Swadeb Construction Farm. You're very, very welcome, Stephen.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to me about Swadeb.
Swadeb is a construction company founded where we do design and build. We are a construction firm where we do design and build. We actually want to do design for our clients as well as also do construction works for them in the mind of streamlining the entire process to make it as seamless as possible, ensuring that they're able to get their dream. To have actually our mission statement is to you dream and we build. So whatever you envision in mind, we really want to bring it into concept and also to make it a reality, ensuring that you really get what you want and achieve your dreams as we have stated in our mission statement.
Stephen, a lot of people, when they think about construction, there's a lot that comes into play. It could be corporate construction. It could be residential construction. It could be, the construction. So when we speak of Swadeb, who's your target market? Who's your clientele? Who's this person that you're bringing to life their dream?
Actually, for us, it's more of we find that the construction industry is more of faced to different clientele. But for us, mainly, we really deal with the residential clients who really want to build their home, people who have envisioned, they want to move from renting houses to now owning their own homes, as well as also we have clientele such as people who want to probably do commercial building for apartments, as well as also probably for leasing places like we have malls and the likes, as well as also we really want to furthermore major in the infrastructure industry for the roads and also probably dams. But for now, it's mainly for the construction project, buildings and the likes. That's our main clientele for now.
How did you end up in this construction space? How did you decide, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to start my own construction firm.
Actually, that's a very good question. Yes, for me, actually, my field is in construction management. That's what I did in university. Yes, so now currently I'm a construction project manager. For me, it has been a big, my business journey has been big because even in school, I used to run some small rice business that I used to do part-time. One thing that I really use as the thing that moved me to do business construction actually is because I love machines. And I thought I came to sit down and saw in the construction industry, that's why we really have a lot of machines, from the trucks in the sites, from the excavation equipment, from dealing with the compactors, the different range of equipment. So for me, that's really what really captivated me to do. I really wanted to do engineering in university, but things came by that I didn't get the cut-off marks, knowing the current Kenyan grading system. So I was not able to do engineering as I wanted, but I came to do construction management. Then actually the main where I really jumped from, I have been an advent of business. I've really wanted to be an entrepreneur. Right. Yes, and one scenario really pushed me to really go out, jump the water, just take a leap of faith. So as some incident I had when I was doing a small job practice as a clerk of works, where I really had a bad confrontation with the current contractor. Why it was if they really wanted to they had the interest so much at heart, other than the client's interest. So that for me really, as a project manager, actually we really want to make sure that the project itself, it's really from concept to the entire phase streamlined until the client's interests have been fulfilled. So for me, that conversation really made me resolve to really register my business and make it something by niche to really safeguard the interests of my clients. Make sure that dream that they have comes to reality. Yes.
I like the aspect that you talk about, that what drove you into now fully wanting to, pursue your dream, and that's, that confrontation that you didn't agree with. However, I'm also interested in knowing, especially about your employment journey, like what that was like, and maybe some of the take-homes you took that you feel play a very vital role into your business right now, And sometimes, you'll hear people say, as I was employed, I learned this, and, the knowledge I got has been very vital in doing such and such in my business. What was that like for you?
Actually, for me, I'll tell you, mine is quite a different aspect, because from university to when I started business, I can't say I've gone through in any professional experience as of like.
So you were just one of those cut out to be in an entrepreneur.
Actually happened even when I was in university. I used to do side houses, because for us people in the construction field, we mainly find you can do some few designs and there, you can do an architect drawing, and then submit. Client comes and gives you what they want them to achieve for you, so that you are able to do that even as you continue. So for me, that as soon as I was done with campus, I just went to the business world, and I think for me that's what was a big leap of faith, because you find that once you learn the hard way. I think for me there you learn from your mistakes. The mistakes I've made have really propelled me to where I am right now. Each and every day, actually, I'm an advent of learning from mistakes. And each day I want to learn something new, grow. Because I know if you're not it has been said, if you're not making mistakes, you're not growing. Right. Yeah, so every day for how to deal with clients. Find the times clients can be tough. You agree on this, then there are changes when you come to actualization. Probably they don't want to pay up on time. There are changes in design, and they already started on the work. So all those conflicts really have propelled me, and I keep learning from them. When you make that one mistakes, you endeavor not to make it again. Right. But you want to now learn from that, use that as your steps, the learning steps, and really do something and endeavor not to repeat that mistake again yet.
And based off of what you've just said right now, I really, really am interested in knowing, in your entrepreneurial journey, especially because you've said literally all you've known is construction. You've been passionate right from the beginning. What would you say has been your defining moment? You know what I mean? That moment where this is, like, you felt justified, you felt validated, you felt like I'm in the right place. This is exactly what I need to be doing.
Actually, there's that one project that I did. I actually did it when I was still in campus. And if I got referred to one of our clients. He was doing a house just close along Thika Road. And then finally doing those designs from the initial concept, architecture or structure, and the quantity surveying, and then really seeing it, going also into the construction phase of it, and really seeing it, the thing that you drew, the render works that you did, and then finally seeing it, the actual project itself and the house. It's really a fulfilling. That's one of the most fulfilling moments that I've had so far. And actually, imagining I was just from campus, so that was a big achievement for me. And moreover, I can also add to that, it's about one thing I've learned is about power of association. The people you will learn, each and every person you meet in a day has something to teach you. And I was able to join a few of networking and also mentorship forums. This has been able to make me get mentors, really associate with people who really just used to read about them on the papers or see them on TV. Actually, with that, you feel now entitled. You feel part of something big, not just yourself. You feel part of a family. So I think that part was also another very big. From that one achievement of doing that first project and now really growing, and you feel at times even feel like you're on top of Nairobi. At times, yes. So it's quite an exciting journey, and it has been wonderful so far. Right. Yes.
Power of association. That's actually something that my entrepreneur before Sarah brought about, except she talks about it as social capital. She said, like, the people you keep around you, like, they're very important when it comes to your entrepreneurial journey. Now, Stephen, I want you to let me know, as an entrepreneur who's going into this, even as you talk about, like, they need to be associated with the right people, they need to have the right social capital. How does one go about zeroing in on the right, you know what I mean? Because to you, it may seem easy because you've done it for a while, you know who, to look out for. But as an entrepreneur who's starting out, what are those attributes that they're looking out for when they're trying to build their social capital, even the people they associate with?
Wonderful question. One thing I would start with is really, once you really, because I believe for us entrepreneurs, passion is what really keeps us moving. Yes. There are times it will be hard and you want to quit. Actually, they say, even for a person like Thomas Edison, he failed 1,000 times. So that consistency and persistence to keep you moving really moves you forward. And in the question of about how do you look for people who you can really bring to your circle? I think one thing really I'm an advent for learning. I purpose to read something, and it's about it's called mastermind. Mastermind. Like for us, for business people, we really want people who you can't excel in every aspect. You really need someone to do for you accounts. You need someone to do for you the law practice to really advise you. You need someone to say, even those people people really see that they are the secretaries. Those do a very big role in the business. Right. So for you, really seeing and people who really buy into your vision. What's your vision? I think that's the first biggest.
You have to share a common
goal. Yes, vision. People who really need, and then because they say if you want to be successful, you really need to do what other successful people do. So like for me, you have mentors who've really achieved, especially in your field of work, where you've people who have gone through that journey. You really want to associate more with them because they say it's more of mentors. Yeah. They say you can have those that you can relate, like me and you one-on-one, as well as also people who can follow, people on social platforms, people who really have done what you want to do, people who, like for me, I want to really transform lives globally. So people who really share into that vision, I really find it so easy to bring them on board, and entrepreneurs such as me who really understand the journey, because entrepreneurship journey can be lonely. People won't understand you. And when you're really building your field, you might lack those people. People will shy off from you. But when it really shines, people don't know from where you've been through. Yeah. And the people who understand that vision, you really have to keep them with you.
I love that. Yeah. So what's the dream, Stephen? Where do you want to see your business 5 years from now, 2 years from now? Like, what's the long-term plan?
One thing I've really taken to heart is discovering my passion and also my purpose. I really want to transform lives. Every area, every aspect of life, from philanthropy. I'm also a Christian. I'm saved by fellowship at Thika Road. So I really, even ministry, it's a call to all of us to really push ministry from energy, renewable, so following to SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, things that really rally up to make people. I think my passion is, other than loving machines, I love people to make people happy. I would really want to see that people's interests are really safeguarded and they really have they're taken care of. So for me, that one in the next 5 years, I want us to not only be in Kenya, East Africa, Africa, and then not only and also internationally at the wrong run. And this SWADEP construction is one of the platforms I plan to utilize to really achieve my purpose of transforming the world. Through SWADEP construction, I want to really take into account, like more of you asked about mentors. I look at people who've done such, like Devki, this Narendra Raval. He has built Devki group to different, to big positions. So that's what I want to do through SWADEP group, energy, foundation, all around the things that really matter to people and are really key, that will really enable job creations and make people live better, as well as make a world a better place. My legacy is not to leave the world a place as I found it, but to make it better, to live it a better place, yes.
Makes a lot of sense. This was a very beautiful conversation, Stephen, and I really, really wish you and SWADEP all the best, and may you keep soaring. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Lounge, and you're just in time for our quickfire round. Now, Stephen.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yeah.
In this round, which we call the quickfire round, I ask 5 general business trivia questions. The trick is for one of you to get the right correct answer within 10 seconds of asking the question. The person with the highest correct answers at the end of the round is our quickfire king or queen. And like Stephen asked earlier, that title runs for a week. We have people who literally come and knock at our offices and say, how can I be your quickfire king or queen? So guys, no pressure, but please, the friendship ends within this round.
Do we win anything?
That title, the coveted title, okay? Are you ready?
We're ready, let's go.
And Stephen gets it. Bragging rights, coveted title. Are you ready? Let's go.
Born ready.
Quick fire round and question number 1. What was Lifebuoy soap called when it was first introduced in 1987? You know Lifebuoy, everyone knows Lifebuoy, the soap.
Yeah, that soap that they send you to school with, boarding school.
Yes. The first time it hit the market, it wasn't called Lifebuoy soap. What was it called? I'll give you a hint. The name Life was there, but instead of boy, they had a different name. Like, for example, what would you call your friend? Another name for your friend, Life what?
Life mate.
No, close enough though. Like my friend, you know, like a
Life buddy. Like,
what? You
like,
said it?
that is so Ugandan.
Life buddy soap.
Life buddy soap.
Really? Are you sure you didn't read up on it?
After my hint.
Yes, Lifebuoy soap when it first Life Buddy. When Lifebuoy soap first hit the market, it was called Life Buddy soap.
Well, it's good they changed it.
Right? You wouldn't buy it. Question number 2. What is the most valuable business in the world? It's a brand. Like, which business is the most valuable in the world? For example, you know how here you'd say, you know, Safaricom records the highest profits, you know, every single year. What is the most valuable business in the world?
Coca-Cola.
I was going to say, I really was genuinely going to say that. I was like, let me give him 2 seconds.
Wow, I'm
I was
loving
seriously
this.
going to say Coca-Cola.
It is Coca-Cola.
It is, because
but he said it before you. So you have a point for Life Buddy soap, and he has a point for Coca-Cola. So right now it's a tie. You just have to work very hard to win the rest of the
No, I'm done being polite. I seriously was going to say Coca-Cola. Like that.
Oh, you mean you're being polite?
I was like, you know, like, men first.
Okay. Question number 3.
Giving him time to fail.
How old was Bill Gates when he first became a billionaire?
31.
Did you read his book?
Well, we're all trying to get there.
He got it right on, like, the exact figure. I thought he would guess a ball. Yeah, I thought she'd guess a ballpark figure, but it was 31. She's 2 points on you. You have to figure this out. Question number 4. These ones are easy, so guys, it's really according to who, you know, spits them out quickest. Question number 4. Who is the founder and chairman of Amazon?
Jeff Bezos.
Stephen, he was saying Jeff, but no, he was saying Jeff, but I mean, you're ready. Okay, come on. 3-1. 3-1. I mean, at this point, she's already won, but let's give you a chance
No, but that
to at least. He knew. You just like spit it out much quicker than him. Final question and decide. No, not decided question. She's probably won, but like a chance for you to, at least not be too far off. Final question of the day. What does IPO stand for?
Initial public offer.
Yes, it's true. You did say it together.
No, he said
he
he
was trying to say something.
you have to be fast.
No.
If it is written.
Okay, listen. I'm the moderator. I'm the moderator of this show. And my decision is 4 points for Sarah, 2 points for Steven. Either way, at the end of the night, at the end of the day, you and bragging rights of our coveted Quickfire Round. Yeah, maybe next time we'll find like 1,000 shillings to give you. But as for now, you win the title. Congratulations, Sarah. You didn't do too badly, Steven. It was a good round.
It's okay, next time.
Unfortunately, we've come to the end of this week's episode of Entrepreneurs Lounge, but I do hope you've picked something from my guests today, whether it's the tips and trades that you need to help you be successful in the construction business, like Steven, my guest, has, or whether you're a chef aspiring to do amazing things. Just find that gap in the market like my other guest, Sarah Akelly, did. I wish you all the best, and as usual, we've been shooting at Daughter's Home and Exclusive Furniture in Westlands on Parklands Road. Have a very beautiful evening. I'm Ingrid Nantege.